title of this video is really gonna beat me to the punch on this one. Hello, my fellow dweebs. I see no point in dancing around the subject of this video because, as I'm sure you have already deduced by the title, once the season of Invincible wraps up, I will be taking a break from making videos on YouTube. I will be back. I am not quitting my YouTube career, but this will be my longest break on the channel to date, so I figured one of my sit down, let's have a chat videos was warranted, especially since we just hit 50K, so I know it probably seems that this break is coming at a weird time. I'll talk a bit about my reasons for wanting and needing a break later in this video, but I wanted to go over the channel logistics with you guys first because I figure that's the most important thing. I will be back to react to all the shows that we've started here on the channel, which at this point are Rick and Morty, Invincible, Solar Opposites, and One Punch Man. I just won't be starting any new shows at the moment, and we'll be taking a break from making content until one of these shows comes back with a new season. I was really hoping that by the time I sat down to make this video, at least one of these shows would have an official return date. I know that Solar Opposites is set to return in the fall for its final season, and One Punch Man is slated for October. I'm hoping Rick and Morty might be back before then, but just know that whenever these shows do come back, I will be back too. Also, me not reacting to a new show on the channel right now does not necessarily mean I will never react to a new show again, but this is where I want to talk to you guys candidly about why I'm taking a break and why I foresee myself taking more breaks like this in the future. So I've talked about this briefly before in another video of mine, but it really just comes down to the fact that my life is in a really different place than it was when I first started making videos on the channel almost a decade ago. When I first started making videos on the channel, I was working as a server a couple days out of the week, and that's really all I had going on. As the channel progressed in popularity, I had considered maybe doing YouTube full-time, but the closer I got to that goal and to that dream, the more I realized it just wasn't for me. My hat is off to anyone who does content creation as a full-time job, because as someone who just does it part-time, I can attest to just how much time and energy it takes to maintain a successful and sustainable platform. I never expected to love being a flight attendant as much as I do, but I love my current full-time job and I love making videos on YouTube, but I am finding myself in a time deficit these days. It's just gotten to the point where something has to be the thing that gives. I've been wrestling with whether or not to take this break for a long time now because I know that this channel and this space means a lot to a lot of you, and it means a lot to me too. We just hit 50K, which is such an amazing milestone, and that's really complicated how I feel about taking a break right now too. My worst fear is that taking a break right now would make you all think that I'm unappreciative or ungrateful, but the irony is that it is because I care so much about the channel and I want it to continue to be something that I enjoy doing, that I just have to start taking breaks to tend to other aspects and passions and hobbies in my life so that I don't get burnt out. I want the channel to be something that's around for a long time, especially if we are getting 100 years Rick and Morty, which it's looking more and more these days like we are. The more seasons this gets renewed for, the more I'm convinced that could actually be a thing. So I'm really in it for the long haul then. I've been hesitating with whether to bring this next reason up because I don't want to speak too soon on it. But another big reason I've been wanting this break is because I've been writing a lot recently and been feeling super inspired in that area of my life. I love reacting to other people's creative properties, you know this, but lately I've been feeling a really intense drive to create something of my own. Whether this project is something that ever comes into fruition in a way that could be consumed by you remains to be seen and would be a long way off in the future, but the only way that dream ever becomes a reality is if I'm intentional about carving out the time to work on it, which brings us back to my recent time deficit, which brings us back to why I'm taking a break. Anyway, my dweebs, I wanted to try to keep this video as short as possible so that I don't get emotional, because we know I have a tendency to do this. But last but not least, I want to say thank you for all the support you've given me over the years, for giving me a space and a community that is so hard for me to take a break from. I'm gonna miss you guys so much during this break, and I can't wait to come back and keep watching all the shows that we've started together. As soon as we have a return date for Rick and Morty or an official return date for Solar Opposites or One Punch Man, I'll be sure to post my return date as well. And I'm not going anywhere just yet. We still have more Invincible to watch. Thank you again for being here, my fellow dweebs, for taking the time to hear me out, and as always, for being my people. And I will see you on Friday for another Invincible reaction.